Hi guys, thanks for joining us for another episode of Trading Tales podcast here at Nordic Thunder. We're here with Niv, also known as Nivheda in the world of trading. She is from Thailand, currently living in London. Niv is a full-time trader working as a broker who focuses on indices with investments, mutual funds, and insurance. Her name, Niv, stands for Never in Vain, which resonates with her attitude towards the markets. So, Niv, how are you? How have you been?
Yeah, good. Good to be here.
Good. Right. Okay, cool. So we'll just get started with explain to us a little bit about your journey. How did you start and to get to where you're at now? What happened?
Okay. I guess it all started when COVID hit, really, and I remember that I got my first job just 2 months before COVID really hit the UK. So I was in Scotland at that time, and I lost my job almost immediately when things started going bad. And after months and months of just sitting in the house, just doing nothing but just spending money on rent and things like that, it makes you think I need to do something. It also gets you thinking of how vulnerable you are when you're doing kind of like a 9 to 5 job, or when you have just one single avenue of making money, and you're at risk of losing everything. So that's when I really started researching into, really it started with small things like how to make money online, little ways. Like I started from surveys, filling out surveys for companies and getting a little bit of money. And then
That's cool.
I remember my father's side uncle is a very successful trader, and he's retired himself, and he has a family and everything, and he's never worked a 9 to 5, and that
No.
trading is what got him there. And my father said, well, just even like it's a good skill to know, because it gives you a bit of background around the stock markets and general industries, and what kind of affects or impacts the economy and us indirectly as well. Why don't you get into trading? So I then started looking for academies, or more structured kind of.
Minefield.
Yeah, it is the space is very confusing, scary. It's very exciting as well, though, because the idea of pressing a button and making money, practically multiplying your money using just a phone, is crazy to me. And that's all from your house. And there's no cap, there's no limit on like how much you could earn.
No,
And
you're right. You're right.
yeah,
Crazy. It's so
yeah,
crazy.
it's the
It's very enticing, isn't it?
yeah. And I think like I feel like most people, that's the first thing that latches on to them. But I would say one of the reasons why trading really worked for me is that money wasn't my like main focus. My main focus was trying to learn a skill and a way to make another stream of income for myself. And I was also looking into getting into the finance industry eventually when I was finding a job. So I thought this is going to look good in my portfolio.
Yeah.
So that way I wanted to get into this in general.
Brilliant. So like you talk about academies, and
Yeah.
I heard you mention like IML before. Can you
Yeah.
just elaborate on IML? What do they exactly do? Because I've heard good things, not many, but I've heard a lot of bad things, and I just want to get someone's opinion on IML, and
Mhm.
what they kind of do and what system they kind of have in place. Because I've heard all sorts of crazy things there.
Yeah, it's wild. I mean, I can't, really bad mouth I Am Academy, because it gives you the opportunity to really learn your foundations in a structured manner. It kind of, for someone like me who's used to doing a course to kind of learn a skill or go to college, and it's just a comfortable path to take rather than trusting in, a random stranger online that, deems, or an Instagram trader who's, getting courses out. This is more,
Yeah,
it feels more legitimate. Yeah, it's more legitimate. And especially during COVID, when there was so many scams going on, I was
yeah,
super wary of, who I chose to kind of
Of course. Yeah, it's about finding the right
eat.
person.
Exactly. So IM Academy is really good for like foundational stuff. It's good to kind of get integrated into like a good community of people that all are working towards, you would like to think, the same goal, which is, learning and being successful trading.
Yeah.
And I think that it has its good and bad. So obviously it is I would say, a pyramid scheme, like many of these companies, because let's be real, no one can actually promise you that you're after a course.
Very vague.
Videos.
Very, very vague. Most of
Yeah,
it. It's like, yeah, I'll give you this, but I'm not going to teach you anything strategy wise. You're just going to have to do that yourself. But,
yeah,
you can get all this for free on YouTube. So,
yeah, exactly. And that as you kind of get deeper and deeper into the industry, and you do your research, you do your trial and errors. I think really and truly the only way to learn trading is just to go through it. We really the ups and the downs, and kind of understand how to toughen your mind up. And I think the one good takeaway from IM Academy is the people. I ended up meeting a lot of really good, like-minded, hardworking people that were all of different like skill levels and experience levels. So you kind of learn invariably through other people's mistakes. I did eventually have to quit the academy because I realized what was going on, and I realized that most people at the top, it was more of a marketing thing, and most of the money that they would be making is invariably through signing people up.
yeah.
So
Yeah, of course.
yeah,
It's the
my
standard.
focus was always learning. So where I was really trying to learn, and in the beginning, yes, they would gear you towards learning, but then eventually your mentor, like the person who brought you in and did the whole pitch, they start to try and get you to bring more people in, try and get you, it's more like they would try to get you to spread the news about, like, go tell people that Forex is not fun. But it's like, I don't know yet myself, because I'm still
Exactly.
getting into it.
Give
So
me a chance.
I think I'm going to have to form my own opinion, or let me get a success story out of trading before I go and tell people that, because I'm not convinced yet, and it's difficult, and you can lose a lot of money. And if you don't have proper risk management, discipline, if you don't, know what you're doing, you can really lose a lot of money, and it can get really dangerous really quick.
100%. So you've gone from IML Academy as a bit of a fresher, and now you are a full-time broker working with investments and trading full-time. That's amazing. So can you tell us a little bit more, just to elaborate a little bit more about what you actually do?
It's more like a hybrid position that I'm in right now, because of course, handling your own portfolio for like a client is a very, very high level thing that it takes years to get into. But essentially we're looking more into the like private investment side of it. So these are companies that want us to build them diversified portfolios to manage their risk and their wealth. And a portion of it could be things like insurance, which is, protecting their assets that they have right now. So the division that I work in specifically is energy and oil. So I'm working for oil conglomerates, essentially. And what we do is so there's the insurance side of it, and then there's the bonds and the yields for them. And then there's the investment front of it, which is us essentially providing them with recommendations of where to invest in, how much to invest in, how to diversify your portfolio, and also reading the market. I think that's right now one of my main jobs, is just scanning the market for opportunities, threats, kind of catering it to them.
Yeah.
Of course, there are, like, oil and gas is an industry that impacts globally and across. It touches everyone, Oil prices go up.
Yeah.
we feel it. We feel it. The whole economy feels it. And it's very interesting to see how, let's say, a bill that's passed in the US about for renewables, how that affects the stock market, how that affects indices, how that affects commodities, and then how that plays out for businesses.
So would you say you're more like fundamental based? Like when you're looking at the market, you're always, because I've been speaking to a lot of guys that are, they have a little look at news and, it's kind of random. They'll be like, yeah, well,
Yeah.
a little bit, but you can't really tell that much. So would you say that you're more fundamental based?
I honestly would have to say that I wouldn't say 50-50, but it really changes based on how elastic the market is in that moment. So there's like a term in economics like price elasticity. So it basically says how sensitive is the market to the news. So in like an economy right now in the UK, we're in a period of recession, and it's not been a good couple years. So investment has been low, savings have been high, and the general kind of consumption outlook is more wary, more skeptical. I would say that currently we're in a very elastic, highly elastic market. So I'm reading the news, and it's not just like, if there's direct negative news, that it's going to directly negatively affect the market, but it's very interesting to kind of see how it plays, like the relationship. Even things like, let's say, I keep going back to the US because I'm super focused on the US market, as I see the highest level of elasticity globally comes from what happens in the US, and specifically for oil as well. So any sort of global news can affect and will affect the market. But
I remember seeing oil when the whole Israel-Palestine thing kicked off, and it went absolutely insane. But that's something you can't really account for either, because it's not like predicted news. This is something that happens like random. So what are you going to do about that if you're in a trade? You're not going to. You haven't got like you can't tell the future.
No, absolutely not. I think it's all about positioning yourself to the right time, right place type of situation. And a big part of trading is also understanding that you will never, even the most successful traders are not getting 100% success rate. So you just need to get that out of your mind that you can cover yourself at all times. That's simply not possible. The only way to actually, and honestly, out of all the learning and the experience that I've got in this strategy, I would say is your risk to reward and your risk management needs to be on point.
What is your approach to risk management then? What would you say?
So I have phases. So the market has cycles, and there's certain cycles that I feel are more profitable to me personally, and to so I trade the Dow Jones and I trade JUR 30. Yeah,
I literally hate that one.
No, it's crazy. It's crazy, but I love it. I love it because it's quick, It's you're going to make your wins and you're dipping, or you're going to lose and you're dipping. No matter what, I have certain, let's say, parameters, right? So if I reach a certain amount of money that I've made, either if I've made the money for the day and it's still running, I will take out a comfortable amount and let the rest run with the stop loss, obviously, in profit. Yeah, and I'll allow that. Or if it's a loss and I've already, crossed let's say my max loss for the day is 500. If I've lost that, then I'm out no matter what.
Okay. You're just that's it. Yeah. Finished. Yeah, that's nice. Yeah. That's nice. Is there any specific indicators or anything? You said that you're quite fundamental based. Share any secrets with us?
So there is, obviously I can't tell you the specifics. There are certain indicators that are
non-disclosure agreement. Is it?
Yeah. So we do have certain indicators, and they're completely based all I can tell you is they're completely based on statistical data. So it's completely based on what kind of stuff has happened in the past. The entire floor has like a loss run, essentially. So we're trying to learn from our losses. So when we do have a loss, generally you should be able to kind of explain why you think it happened. If you don't know, you need to research. You need to look into the news at that time. You need to look into all the possible variables that you can and try and come up with some sense as to why it happened. But that's not always going to be the case. And so we're encouraged, in fact, to have losses because they want to get us into the mindset of just because, you know, you won 5 trades in a row doesn't mean that you're the best employee on the floor. No, it's what they look at, honestly, at the end of the year. So it doesn't matter if we're doing freaking amazing, like the first quarter. If that all goes to shit in the second quarter and our net earning for the year is shit, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter whether you got like all your, you know, trades right in the first month. And then you want to look into like, are you keeping the leveraging consistent? So
That's how it should be.
Take a couple of wins, don't be upping your leverage. Wait for your account to grow so that it proportionally your profit increases. Like that's the only way to do it, I feel like.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's great. Honestly, it makes sense though, because you know, there's traders go through periods where obviously, like if you look at any strategy, right? If you there will be 2 months in that year where it's not hitting as much. It's not a set thing, right? There's a lot of adaptation involved.
Super easy.
Yes. Essentially, you've got to just look at the bigger picture. Essentially.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's really what keeps your discipline in check. Is like bigger picture. Yeah, and once you get into it,
it's interesting that you work for this big company now. So, as a woman in a male-dominated industry, have you faced any like challenges within that? Any sort of misogyny or anything you can sort of like think, oh yeah, that was a little bit difficult. And I think if I was like a man, that would have been better.
I would say I have a way of like filtering people and knowing who to deal with and who not to. So that saved me a couple of times. But I would say I've also been blessed by a lot of senior male people in my company and in like the general trading space that have been amazing mentors and have never crossed the line or have never, you know, made me feel any less because I'm a female. I think it is obviously, in general, the world is more difficult to navigate, I would say, as a female. It's easier as well because you can open doors that men may not be able to. But when you want to get to a certain place in your life out of your own merit, not because, you know, you're a female or not because of how a man feels about you. So I mean, I would say it's been all right. Yeah.
It's been okay. So why do you think there's less female traders? Why do you think that is?
I can't really give a perspective because I can only reflect from growing up and like the background that I have grown up in finance. Because I would say trading is within the finance industry. It's never really been a female dominant industry. And I feel like it's not just a generational thing, but the opportunities that a man will get in this industry may be more than a female. I think it's a cycle, you know? So there's more men that have historically been in this kind of an industry. And due to that, they attract more men. And then the cycle continues and it continues. And because until the minority, which is females, becomes a majority, it's very difficult to break the barrier as a female. Yeah,
I find it difficult to just navigate through female traders. You know, there's so many guys, and I was like, well, I'd like to get some, you know, some girls on, and I just find it more difficult. They're hard to come by. There's thousands and thousands of men like traders.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it's like, where are these skilled traders?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I've been super blessed to have the mentorship of a couple of female and male traders that have been amazing, amazing. And I feel like every single highly successful trader that I know, they've come out of like major struggle in their life.
Yeah.
And that's what really like gets them to that next level, I feel like, which is, it's inspiring.
Nice.
Very inspiring. Yeah.
Great. So let's talk a little bit about psychology. How do you navigate yourself through like tough moments psychologically? So, you know, moments of greed, you know, dissatisfaction. When do you say, right, enough is enough? Obviously, you've got a team.
Yeah.
You're right. So I guess you're on a trading floor.
Yes.
And I guess some people will be like, whoa, calm down. Maybe they like slow down a little bit, or, you know, do you have that? Or is it more?
I feel like because it's highly competitive on the floor, you kind of also have to have a strong individual mental. So you can't lean too much on, like, my team is amazing and I have a huge support system through them. But sometimes, you know, no one can make you feel better when like because you were the one who executed that trade. You're the one who made that mistake. And like, you know, but I think there are forgivable mistakes and then there are like unforgivable mistakes. So on the floor, you know, things like over leveraging, you know, going against your risk management, that's really like, you deserve to feel like shit, you know.
You haven't, so let me just get this straight. You haven't misclicked a button and put 100 lots instead of 10, right?
No, the company, the way it works is that it has a system that will immediately block the trade if you do something ridiculous.
It's good. That's the people's money.
Yeah. Yes. But I've done that with my personal trading before, and my margin was so small because the lot size was massive, and it freaking worked it worked my way. Thank God for that.
Yes.
Because you know how Dow Jones works is you don't need a lot of pips to actually cross one. Yeah, so it thankfully it went my way and I immediately closed out, and it was like, it's beautiful, but it was also like, I don't deserve this money because this is not.
No.
Yeah.
Do you invest like in crypto at all, or like?
Yeah.
Are you heavily invested, or just do you dabble? What is your?
Honestly, so crypto is more that thing where I've invested a decent amount into it, I would say, and it's more like a forget about it and like just
long term.
Yeah, it's the kind of money that I haven't invested enough that if it goes sideways, I'm gonna be in a difficult position.
Yeah.
My mindset with crypto is very different because it is like, there's indices, volatility, and then there's the crypto space, which is just entirely deregulated, entirely like it could go anywhere. So really and truly, I'm just keeping an open mind. But I do feel heavily confident about crypto. I feel that crypto, there have been indications of, you know, philanthropists and wealthier, more clued up people in society investing in crypto and investing in, maybe not directly into crypto, but there could be little signs or tells, like the fact that, you know, the US has way more this year, have invested heavily more in crypto ATMs. And, you know, why are they doing that if like crypto was just a fad?
I thought it was going away. Yeah, so like when it was in a bearish run, it was like, crypto's going to zero, mate. Crypto's going to zero. I was like, no, it's not. Definitely not. It's just heading downwards for a bit. Don't worry about that. It's going back up.
Yeah, it's going. I mean, I still think Bitcoin. I remember when I first joined this company, and I told someone very senior on my like first week. He asked me if there's something that you would back that's unconventional, what would it be? and what's your prediction? And I was like, Bitcoin, 250K,
Yeah.
100%.
I think as well, do you know what? Do you know why I was like, it's not going away? Because of the privacy thing. So there's not a lot of, in society right now, there's not a lot of privacy when you're spending. You just beat your card and it's like, oh, Liv was here at this time.
Yeah.
People don't like that. People, you know, the privacy has gone out of our lives with social media. So essentially, like, this is something that's like, gives you a little bit of privacy and people like that. People dig it.
Yeah. And not just that, I think what's a good thing and a bad thing is that no entity can control Bitcoin unless they were super whales. Only then. The government at least cannot control it entirely because they don't know the source of it. And that to me, in a society where we're going cashless, where there's a lot more kind of tracking around everything that you do, you leave a trace, you know, a digital or whatever trace. You know, I have so many friends of mine that, you know, they sound crazy because they're like, I'm not going to get an upgraded iPhone because I don't want Face ID recognition. I don't want my thumbprint. I don't want any of that. And I'm like, it's a wave that you can't stop, though.
Yeah. No, of course.
Yeah. And I think that the beauty of Bitcoin is that you don't need an intermediary. And most situations where, let's say, housing market crash, financial crisis, it's been because the intermediary have failed. Bitcoin has that possibility of like just being untouchable, essentially, because it's completely driven based on people, you know. And that's like, I think that's the kind of hope factor, because people right now, I know around the world, feel like they have no control over who dictates the laws around their life, who dictates anything, you know, like, so they want to hold on to that certain level of control that they have.
Nice. That's a very interesting point, actually. Brilliant. So we're going to move on to some fun questions now. So any major trade fails, apart from the one you told me, which wasn't a fail because it was a success?
Yeah. I still count that as a fail because that was just terrifying.
Yeah.
It was terrifying. I think this is the time when I kind of quit trading for a while after that one trade.
Oh, really? Oh, no.
Yeah. But it was 100% my fault, and I take accountability for it because I over-leveraged. You know, I was trying to double my account, more than double my account.
Flipping account. Yeah, nice.
Yeah. And flipping, you know, sounds nice and all, and it works for some people. This is what I've just come to know, is that you are going to have your losses. No matter how good your strategy is, no matter how experienced you are, you can never eliminate the losses.
Yeah.
So, that one loss should not have the ability to wipe out your entire account.
Was that your biggest loss?
Yeah, biggest.
And how did you feel after that?
I quit for like 2 months.
Okay, we're just resuming the part of the podcast with Niv here from the UK, London. We had some technical difficulties yesterday, so we're just resuming now. So let's go back into it. Talk to me about your biggest win, Niv. How did you feel about that when you had your big win? Your first, if you can remember at a time when you had your first big win.
That was a good time. That was, the pair was Jur 30. It was kind of, I could feel it, you know, it feels very weird to say, but I could feel it coming because I was just, that day, everything just aligned perfectly. The conditions were perfect. And by this time, I'd been trailing the market day in and day out for the Jur 30 market for, I would say, 2-3 months.
Nice.
So I just knew, and I'd been waiting for the market to get to that particular point. When it did, I knew, you know, it has to react this way.
Nice.
And it did, and it was a beautiful win. I think it wasn't my best win in terms of money wise or like how much I earned, but it was the best win because exactly what I predicted, like to the point where, you know, point A to point B, it'll drop and then it will go up and then it will continue. It was perfect, you know. It's
nice.
Perfectly aligned.
I do like those ones that go quick TP as well. You're like, oh yeah, okay, I'm out already. We're good. So how did you can you remember your first kind of big withdrawal and thinking, right, that was nice. I really deserved that. Like, how did you feel after it?
It's my first big, well earned. So there's like the type of withdrawals that I was getting that were pretty sizable within my first 2 years of trading. But they were not disciplined trades. They were completely
Right.
over leveraged, mini scalping, all over the place strategy.
Right.
And it was purely money based, I
Right.
was just trying to hit as much money as possible.
That
And
sugarcoated a little bit then.
yeah, so
Yeah.
that was gold. And I
Yeah.
over leveraged like a motherfucker, and it went up, the slightest amount, but that was enough because I was already like money wise, I was good. So that would be one. But I would say a deserved kind of withdrawal really happened 3 years into the trading.
Nice.
And I remember that was the kind of turning point, even because I was able to then pull out receipts to my parents and show them that, this is actually working.
I can make this work. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that was like the biggest proving factor, because the best part of it was the consistency of it. So I'd set a certain target, and I'd set like for it to kind of compound over time. And when I hit that, target, that was when, that was probably one of the best wins, because it convinced me that my strategy works, that I'm, that actually I think I might be in this for the long run, and it's not just like something that doesn't click for me. Yeah.
Awesome. What was there like a point in your early trading career where you thought, oh, you know what, I might have to stop this. This is really, I've been there once or twice, and I'm like,
yeah,
really stressing me out psychologically.
Yeah, it was a whirlwind the first 2 years, because I was not disciplined. I was really just focused on, the money aspect of it really got to me. And when you compare with your peers as well, you really want to just, how many pips can you hit for the day? How much money can you earn? You're trying to, send that beautiful screenshot to the team that you made that much, like you closed out with that much money. And I think, then I was just over leveraging, didn't know when to stop, not disciplined. And I think because of that, it was just every loss would just, put me in a slump. Every win would make me feel good, but like not good enough, but just I need to keep going. Like, okay.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
it's interesting. Yeah. I think there's kind of a, everyone kind of goes through that sort of, and it's just about getting through that initial load of waffle, if
Yes.
And you don't see it until you've been in the industry for a good couple of years, and then you're like, wow, what was I doing there? So like,
honestly.
do you have like a favorite? You noticed, you told me that you've been trading US 30. Do you have like top 5 pairs that you trade, or is there like a lot of the best traders just stick to 1, maybe 2?
Yeah.
Like what do you do? Do you have like a 5 pairs, or do you just do 1? Do you just do 2? What's your thing?
So I would say my like strongest is like 2, and I think I started off having like 5 on my watch list, and this was a combination. Yeah, it was US 30. It's always been there from the start. NAS 100,
NAS,
GBP JPY.
I like it.
Yeah. And trying to think what the other one was. It's been so long since I have actually ditched currency pairs entirely. I don't trade currency pairs anymore.
Nice.
Yeah, I literally can't remember, but I think the rest were all currency pairs. But eventually I don't know, US 30 and JER 30 just really,
if it's working,
speak to me. Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Yeah, like if it's good for you, like I know a lot of people that make a serious amount of money off that. Like, very consistent because of how fast it is. But for me personally, I look at US 30 and it scares me. So I just like, nope, no, that's not for me.
It is sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. Do you have like a go-to snack or drink when you're on the chart?
Have to have the sugars, honestly.
Yeah.
the sugars. It's almost like pre-workout, before the gym. I feel like if you just psych yourself up, Um, I would say, yeah, sugary stuff, candy, a drink, fruits,
Nice.
um,
Yeah.
yeah, basic stuff. But
I'm a sucker for a can of
yeah,
Coca-Cola. Sucker
yeah,
for it.
yeah. My
And
thing
you
is
can stop, right?
ginger ale.
Oh,
Actually,
nice. Yeah. Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
it's very random, but
So then we'll go back onto the family
Mhm.
issue. So like, have you ever had any like funny kind of looks from family members when you've said that you said before that you've had to show receipts and
Yes.
like say, look, I can make this work. Have you had any reactions that are like, come on, like you shouldn't be doing this. This is really hard. Like I don't think you should do this.
You could put it this way that it's not a traditional kind of, I wouldn't even call it a job. It's not a traditional way of earning a livelihood. That's for sure. And it's really, it's challenging, and it can be there's a lot of, I mean, there's a lot of risk involved. It's highly risky stuff. And, if your mental is not perfect, you could literally just go bankrupt.
Yeah.
So I think from my parents' standpoint, being Asian, being quite traditional, back in their time, they only had like the doctor, the engineer, or,
Yeah.
they had like their kind of jobs, and they were like, this is how you get successful in life, is a stable 9 to 5, and money that is coming in consistently. And I think their main concern was the consistency factor.
Yeah. Of
Is
course.
that it's not a guarantee. So a 9 to 5, you show up and you do your job, but you're a part of a bigger system that is already tried and trusted. It works, and you get that money into your account every month without fail. But with trading, you know, it could be years until you even actually see real money. You could be in a negative, you could lose your money. There's so many possibilities. And
Yeah. Of course.
I think I would say for me personally, the biggest goal was obtaining that consistency in terms of being able to confidently say, not just to my parents, but to myself, that, I can make a livelihood
Great.
trading, and I
Nice.
can, hit a certain amount that's going to cover my rent and bills and everything, and make me be independent and set in life.
Yeah.
I think that was one concern. And also just the whole hype around it, the whole, they could see that I kind of got sucked into the whole money aspect of it, and how
Yeah. Well, it's
the glory part of it, like the millionaires that, like the Q banks, and, the crazy rich traders that are just
yeah.
living their
The
best
net,
life.
but also that is appealing to most people.
Yeah, yeah,
You
100%.
know, when you started, you went through the IML thing. You've
Yes,
come out at the end of that, and now you're working at a trading firm in London,
yes.
and that's incredible, really. So like asking this question now is like, do you have any like embarrassing things now that you look back on and you think, right, like what was I doing there? Like what was I actually? Do you ever look back and think,
Yeah. that would have to
what
be
about the
my
markups
first
that you
year.
used to do with the chart markups? I used to I said this to a couple of the lads that I've had on before. I looked at my drawings like last Christmas from like 3 or 4 years ago, and I was like, what on earth is that? It's just like
Yeah,
lines everywhere.
yeah.
What was that like?
Yeah, I think what was the scariest part to me, more than embarrassing, was how little confirmations I needed to enter trades. And like how I would just, now I have like a step by step, it's like either I need a 2-step or a 3-step confirmation to even think about entering a trade.
You just said, Ben, yeah, I'm in.
Yeah. Back then
So
I'll be like, yeah, bearish candle, let's go.
nice, nice,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, I think that probably is the most embarrassing thing. And also just like falling for the hype. And I think the whole I am Academy, like promotion calls and all that shit, just
Yeah.
yeah,
So
it's a bit embarrassing.
it happens though, it happens.
Mhm.
There's so
Yeah,
many hustlers around, and it's just about navigating through that and then coming out on the
yeah,
other side, which you've done. So well
yeah.
done for that. Do you have
Thank
like,
you.
what advice would you give to any like young aspiring female traders?
I think the industry, the biggest, I would say, problem with the industry that I would advise to stay away from is information overload. And just, you will come across one successful trader that swears by this strategy and another successful trader that swears by that strategy. I think do your research well ahead of time. Talk to people that, are actually successful
Yeah.
traders, not out of, promotions and not out of companies, but independent, successful traders. And generally, they will be able to point you in the right direction of what kind of strategy or what course or what person to approach to learn, and stick. If that strategy is working for you personally, just stick to it. Don't, try and incorporate different people's strategies and hop on one thing and then, someone recommends something because it's really working for them and then you get into it and it's a big mess. So just figure out what works for you. And I think trial and error is literally the only way to do that. So you're just going to have to trust that something will click and you will recognize it immediately, and it for some people it can be a month, 2 months. For some people like me, it took me 2 years.
One of my mates actually did it in he's a really good trader, did it in 6 months.
Yeah.
Mate,
Yeah.
wish that was me.
I mean, different people it's so different. I feel like because there's also people forget how much psych and psychology heavy this industry is. So if you can honestly master your discipline and your psychology, and it's not that difficult to come up with a risk management plan either. There are the basic ones that will work. Go for the slow and steady. That's the advice I give. If you're slow and steady, build, because you could be a super scalper and you could rack up 10 grand in a day, but can you consistently do that day to day?
That's the key, the consistency. That's the key.
I honestly and genuinely do not give a shit anymore when I see someone made 20K within a day, and I'm like, show me if you can do that consistently for 5 months.
Show me 3 payouts.
Or a year.
Show me at least 3 payouts, and then we'll go. Let's get this going for 8 months.
Yeah.
So
that that you can literally quit your job off of trading.
Yeah, that's what you need to show.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
So what do you envision for yourself in the world of trading in the future? Where do you think you could improve?
So right now, obviously, juggling my personal trading time with my corporate trading time is very difficult, very, very difficult. But unfortunately, I am an international and I require a sponsorship to live and work here. So I do require this job 100%. But I believe that, I aspire to be an independent trader and more so get into entrepreneurship to kind of build family wealth for my family through trading. So that is kind of my next steps in life, I would say. Yeah. And I would just say the biggest thing I'll tell myself is like, take a little bit more risk,
Yeah. Fair enough. You're settled though now, and now you can really start building towards that. So you've got the job, you know what I mean? It's just great, by the way, great. Well, now what we're going to do, right? Bit of fun. We're going to construct your perfect trading conditions, your ideal situation.
Okay.
So using like favorite characteristics of a certain like index pair, forex pair, crypto, whatever it is. Okay, so let's start with, what type of asset would you select? Metal, forex, crypto?
You already know it has to be
or indices. Indices, right?
Indices, yeah.
Okay. what about the speed of a pair?
Fast, because that's all I'm used to.
Yeah, so
Fast.
US.
Volatile. US.
And what pair would you say is your most profitable?
There's phases. Overall US 30.
US 30 again, and consistency. So I know you only trade the DAX and US 30. So
US
which one
30.
would you say is US 30 more consistent for you?
Yes, US 30. More
30.
receptive to news, and I have more information on it. So.
What about the structure? Which structure do you prefer?
What do you mean by that?
Like which is your favorite? For me personally, I look at GU structure and I just really like it. It's nice. It's just nice and smooth. I look at it.
Okay. Still US 30.
US 30. You actually love US 30, don't you?
It's like my baby now, because I've been followed literally every single day for the past, I would say, 3 years. I have been following that market day in, day
Makes
out.
sense. What about time frame? Which time frame do you operate best on?
Can I give 2?
Yeah, you can do 2.
4 hour and 15 minutes.
4 hour and 15 minute. Interesting. I haven't used the 15 minute as much, to be honest. Okay, that's
because
cool.
US 30 is crazy. So you just have to. It's like snappy,
So we're gonna do a little game of this or that now. So if
Okay.
I had to give you a choice, you just choose one. Okay, shout it out. So we go UK 100 or SPX.
SPX.
SPX or NAS.
SPX.
SPX or US 30.
US 30.
US 30 or JUR 30.
US 30.
Oh, US 30 wins. Okay.
Yep.
So we'll wrap it up there then. Well, that was Niv. You can follow her on Instagram, guys, just to see what she gets up to in her day-to-day. She's been a great guest today. And thanks for jumping on and listening, guys. Stay tuned for more episodes of Trading Tales with Nordic Thunder.